Okay, so today was an interesting day. Got done with my job at like 4 p.m. That's always a good day. And jumped into 5.6, had a meeting with the developers. We went in a different direction from some of our UI designs today, just based off of compatibility with the Android OS native system. We decided to use some internal settings as opposed to building a custom page out, and hopefully in the future this helps us with compatibility when the Android OS gets updated. That way we don't have to go in and change some attributes that were custom built during our development phase. Rather, we're using a native Android page. We're just linking one of our settings pages in the Kiosk app to the Android page. So general updates on the Kiosk app. Honestly, the most challenging part has not been development. It's actually been device selection. We didn't think this would be an issue, just because a lot of devices, Android is touted as this really customizable piece of operating system. But as we start developing, we realized that a lot of manufacturers lock down the Android OS. So you can, when it comes to installing your own applications, that's fine. But anything regarding the actual settings of the device, the firmware, it becomes really complicated. Not necessarily complicated, but locked down. So there's a lot of limitations that the manufacturers have put in place that make it difficult for us to configure the devices we're working with to do the things we want to do, right? Like lock the device into kiosk mode, disable the user from exiting the app, launch the app on boot. When you boot the device, automatically pop the app up so the user doesn't have to do anything. Things like that have proven challenging in device selection. So right now, I guess we came out of this call today with yet another device to try. So we're gonna go with the Raspberry Pi for now, while I'm also in communication with some OEM, so like device manufacturers in different parts of the world to try and get a solution from the source, right? So the reason why we're not actually, the Raspberry Pi was the first device we ever tried. At that point, we hadn't developed an Android application. We were going through a web browser, so the Kiosk app was supposed to be managed on the Chrome browser. And we went the Raspberry Pi route. And the reason we didn't continue with the Raspberry Pi back then was, one, the memory of the current device we had back then, this was probably a year ago, the memory was too small. It was probably like a 500 MB RAM, and it would keep freezing. So 1 year later, we've developed an Android application, and now we're back to where we started, right? It's like Thanos. Where did that lead you? Right back to me. Okay, that was an Avengers reference. So yeah, we're gonna test it out on the Raspberry Pi, but the issue is the Raspberry Pi is a little pricey. We wanted to keep our device under $50, because that would affect the unit cost of each of our locations. So we're gonna go with the Raspberry Pi right now just to get this MVP up and running. And that's estimated to maybe cost anywhere from $89 to $120, including purchasing a case and any peripherals we need. So more to come on that. I think at the end of the day, we still end up on an Android device once we want to start scaling. But for the sake of getting things up and running, we will go ahead and test on a Raspberry Pi just to make sure that there is a physical device out there that the features we've developed this app for work on, and we go from there. Okay, so those are the updates for today. Yeah, definitely more to come in the coming weeks. I believe we're still on track time-wise. We should still be able to roll out en masse by June, July, even if we go the OEM route and I finish negotiating and working through the configurations with the OEMs abroad, it should take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to get them configured and delivered. So that would put us at the end of May, and come June, it should now be the tough part: finding TV sets, and then getting the labor getting timing right with the labor. The person who would be mounting them to install these things. So more challenges to come, but that's just the name of the game, right? It's business. So looking forward to sharing all of this with the world. As I also need to get better at capturing this process. So yeah, stay tuned.